Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Shire for Hire's Deck Tech. I am your host, Shire for Hire. I hope everyone is having a lovely Saturday morning. I know that I am. It is absolutely gorgeous outside. I will be going out and touching grass here within the next hour or so, but I figured before I did such, I was going to put this video together. I'm waiting on a card for it. But it's pretty much done. I've tested it a few times. It's done pretty good. If you want your friends to hate your guts, play this deck. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. It's fun, and some people are going to be like, well, why the hell did you build this deck if it's just going to make people hate you? Well, because sometimes, it's fun to have people hate you and to be the bad guy at the table. I've seen many times where, my friends have ran slivers at the table and I just wanted to stick my head in the dirt and just wait for the game to end, but they were having a good time. They were having fun and getting their cards to pop off and their combos and stuff. That's pretty much what the name of the game is. It's about having fun, and sometimes you gotta take your losses like you take your wins. And I thought that this would be a good time for me to build a sliver deck. I had a bunch of slivers already that were just sitting in the box. I did buy some more to make it stronger. Finding the commander was the hardest part because there's so many good choices. There's Rukarumeral. There is the Human Wizard. There is the Sliver Hive Lord, the Sliver Legion, the Sliver Grave Mothers. The Brood Mother. Like there's so many great cards that you can run as your commander in a sliver deck. And I thought about it, and I tried Rukarumeral, and she was fun. Very situational. I did like the production of sliver tokens. I thought that was cool. But I needed, I spent quite a few bucks on fixing my mana, and I probably spent more than I really should have. But ultimately it was worth it, because the mana plays out pretty well now. But I ended up choosing Morophon, the Boundless, because of you basically being able to cast certain sliver spells for free. So without further ado, we're going to get into Morophon the Boundless, right, and talk about what Morophon does for slivers. Morophon is a 7-drop, is a 6/6 shapeshifter. It's got changeling. As Morophon the Boundless enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. We are choosing slivers. Spells of the chosen type you cast cost Wooburg less to cast. Wooburg means, white, blue, black, red, and green. This effect reduces only amount of colored mana that you play. So not the colorless mana. So if you're playing something that's got like red, that's red and white and a colorless, you're not paying for the red and white. But you're going to have to pay for the colorless, which is not that big of a deal. It's still considerably easier to play that card. Other creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. That +1, those going to be slivers, they come in at 1/1, now they're 2/2. Or if they're 3/3s, they're going to be 4/4, so on and so forth. So, Morophon the Boundless is our commander, and specifically for that, for his Wooburg reduction, and that's going to bring your hive mother in for free. It's going to bring your grave mother in for free. Your legion in for free. It's the first sliver is going to be cast for free. So this is why this is in our deck, and it's a changeling, so it's going to count as a sliver anyway. So great card, love it, tons of fun. We'll get into our slivers now. We're gonna Virulent Sliver. All sliver creatures have Poisonous 1, which is basically Toxic 1, which is basically Infect. It's a 1/1. I think it's a staple for any sliver deck because who doesn't love Infect other than your opponent? Striking Sliver for a red and a 1/1. Sliver creatures you control have first strike, and also this is a really good deck too. So, like, say you're introducing somebody to play Magic for the first time, or it's their second or third time playing. They don't have a deck, but they want to get a feel out. I like to teach people how to win. I want them to win. I don't want to teach somebody how to play Magic just so I can beat them. I find absolutely no joy in doing that, and I know that the other person doesn't want to get their ass handed to them. So what I'll do is I'll hand them a very overpowered deck, and I will challenge myself also while teaching that person how to play the deck. I will challenge myself on how to beat that OP deck. Even though I'm not going for the win, I am going to figure out ways that I can make the deck that they're using better with workarounds and stuff like that. So, with that said, let's keep going. Gale Rider Sliver is one blue and a 1/1. Sliver creatures you control have flying. Muscle Sliver for a colorless and a green is a 1/1. All slivers get +1/+1. Predatory Sliver for a colorless and a green is a 1/1. Sliver creatures you control get +1/+1. Venom Sliver for a colorless and a green is a 1/1. Sliver creatures you control have Death Touch. We love Death Touch. We love to kill things on the board. Quick Sliver for a colorless and a green is a 1/1. You may play Quick Sliver anytime you would play an instant. So basically, it's got flash. Any player may play Sliver cards anytime he or she would play an instant. All slivers gain flash. Mana West Sliver, because we need to fix our mana. A colorless and a green is a 1/1. Sliver creatures you control have tap. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Here's another fixer. We have a Gemhide Sliver. Is a colorless and a green is a 1/1. All slivers have tap. Add 1 mana of any color. Hatchery Sliver is a colorless and a green. Big fan of this card, by the way. It is a 2/2. Replicate for a colorless and a green. When you cast a spell, copy it each time you paid its replicate cost. So I can, if I paid 6 mana, I can make 3 of these, right? Each Sliver spell you cast has replicate. The replicate cost is equal to its mana cost. So when he comes into the battlefield, I will hit replicate 1. I can have 2 of them. And if I do another 4, I can have 3 of them. Sorry, so my original math is wrong. I apologize. Spinneret Sliver for a colorless and a green. All slivers have. This creature can block as though it's had flying, so that means our slivers have reach. Diffusion Sliver for a colorless and a blue is a 1/1. Whenever a sliver creature you control becomes a target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, that spell or ability, counter that spell or ability unless its controller pays 1. So basically, all your slivers have Ward 2. For those who don't know what Ward is basically an extra get around for removing creatures from the battlefield that are being targeted, whether it be targeting or removal, whatever. As long as if it's being targeted, you have to pay an extra 2. This is a non-sliver that we have in the deck. We're going to put him on the side, but we're going to explain what he does. For a colorless and a blue is a 1/1 shapeshifter. Also has changeling like Morophon. Tap, target creature gains all creature types until the end of the turn. Target creature loses all creature types at the end of the turn. We're going to use that top ability with gains all creature types until the end of the turn because one of our Big Daddy slivers are going to be like, oh, that's a nice sliver over there. I'm going to gain control of it. So we're going to put that there so we can get into that combo. We got a couple of combos that we're going to be running with some of these slivers. Two-headed Sliver is a colorless and a red 1/1. All slivers have. This creature can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. So basically, it's got menace. Crypt Sliver for a colorless and a black is a 1/1. All slivers have tap. Regenerate target sliver. We like that with our slivers. For a Sinew Sliver, a colorless and a white is a 1/1. All sliver creatures get +1/+1. Sentinel Sliver for a colorless and a white is a 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have vigilance. Attacking doesn't cause them to tap. Alright, then we have Hibernation Sliver for a blue and a black. All slivers have pay 2 life. Return this permanent to its owner's hand. So I can just blink shit back to my hand if I need to. If I feel like I'm under threat, I can sack a little bit of life and return something back to my hand. And I've done that quite a few times. Ghost Flame Sliver. This is a very important card to the deck. It is a black and a red and a 2/2, and we'll get into why it's very important to the deck. All slivers are colorless. Like, why is that such a big deal? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're going to get into that when we come across the card that's going to make it powerful. We have the Cloud Shredder Sliver. It is a red and a white. Sliver creatures you control have flying and haste. Great card. I think it's also a staple for any Sliver deck. For a Crystalline Sliver, we have white and a blue and a 2/2. Slivers cannot be the target of spells or abilities. So basically that means Slivers have Shroud. And that kind of sucks though, because then you also can't target your stuff that has Shroud. So you better hope that you have any kind of equipment or anything that you need on your Slivers, because you're going to make those pieces of equipment useless unless that Sliver somehow ends up getting removed. Horn Sliver for 2 colors and a green is a 2/2 summon Sliver. All Slivers gain trample. We're going to have our Slivers are going to, our 1/1s are going to get big. You're going to turn into 4/4s and 5/5s. Shadow Sliver for 2 colors and a blue is a 1/1. All Sliver creatures have Shadow. That means that they can only be blocked by creatures that have Shadow. Spiteful Sliver, this is another very important card to the deck, and we'll get into that. It is 2 colors and a red is a 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have, whenever this creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target player or planeswalker. We're going to put that down here too, because it's another one of our fun little combo pieces. Belligerent Sliver for 2 colors and a red, a 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have Menace, just like our other red Sliver we showed off earlier. Hollowhead Sliver is 2 colors and a red for a 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have tap, discard a card, draw a card. Why is it doing that stupid zoom in and out thing? I do not know. We have a Siphon Sliver for 2 colors and a black is a 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have lifelink. Harmonic Sliver, and one of the cards that we are getting is called Aura Shards, which is basically this. For a colorless, a green and a white is a 1/1 Sliver. All Slivers have, when this permanent enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So Aura Shards is going to be coming in and basically doing the same thing. It's not just for Slivers, though. It's for any creature that enters the battlefield. Necrotic Sliver for a colorless, a white, and a black is a 2/2. All Slivers have, pay 3 mana, sacrifice this permanent, and destroy target permanent. Opaline Sliver for a colorless, a white, and a blue is a 2/2. All Slivers have, whenever this creature becomes a target of a spell an opponent controls, you may draw a card. Magma Sliver for 3 colors is a 3/3, and all Slivers have tap. Target Sliver creature gains +X+0 until the end of the turn, where X is the number of Slivers on the battlefield. I have swung pretty lethally hard with Morophon, just pumping him with a whole bunch of Slivers on the table. It's fun. Root Sliver. Root Sliver for 3 colors and a green is a 2/2. Root Sliver can't be countered. Sliver spells cannot be countered. We like that kind of protection. Shifting Sliver for 3 colors and a blue is a 2/2. Slivers can't be blocked except by Slivers. So we're going back to the Shadow, where only creatures with Shadow can block, but now they're just unblockable. I remember when I pulled this card too back in like 2014. Always wanted to build a Sliver deck, and I kind of did one for Standard during that time, but it wasn't good. They didn't have enough Slivers that came out for that set, and I mean, it was fun, but now I have a spot for this card, and I'm glad that I still have it. For 3 colors and a white is a 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have double strike. Essence Sliver for 3 colors and a white is a 3/3. Whenever a Sliver deals damage, its controller gains that much life. We are back on that lifelink train. Toxin Sliver for 3 colors and a black is a 3/3. Whenever a Sliver deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature. It can't be regenerated. Even if it says regeneration on the card, it ain't getting regenerated. Sorry about your luck, Chuck. Brood Sliver for 4 colorless and a green, 3/3. Whenever a Sliver deals combat damage to a player, its controller may create a 1/1 colorless Sliver creature token. And let me tell you what, we can pump out Sliver tokens like a mofo in this deck. Sliver Overlord. I love this card. For a white, a blue, a black, a red, and a green is Wooburg. And for 3, pay 3 colorless mana, search your library for a Sliver card. Reveal that card and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. It's your Sliver tutor. And then pay 3 colorless mana, gain control of target Sliver. Well, that's when this guy comes into effect. Because it says, target creature gains all creature types until the end of the turn. Gain control of target Sliver. So, my opponent's commander is now my Sliver. So, that is a lot of fun. A little salty, but fun all the same. Sliver Queen for Wooborg. It's a 7/7 legend. Sliver Queen counts as a Sliver. You don't say. Pay 2 colorless mana. Put a Sliver token into play. Treat this token as a 1/1 colorless creature. Sliver Legion for Wooborg. 1 on each color. 7/7. All Sliver creatures get +1/+1 for each other Sliver on the battlefield. So that is basically coat of arms. I think that's what it is. Is it coat of arms? Coat of arms for your Slivers. The first Sliver is Wooborg, 1 of each color, 7/7, Cascade. When you cast a spell, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card that costs less. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. Put the exile cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. Sliver spells you have. Sliver spells you cast have Cascade. So now all your Slivers have Cascade. And it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Sliver Grave Mother, Wooborg, 6/6. The legend rule does not apply to Slivers that you control. Each Sliver creature card in your graveyard has Encore X, where X is its mana cost. Encore 5. That means that you can bring your creature back from the graveyard for to the end of the turn for its Encore cost, which is basically its CMC. So I don't really use it for the Encore that much. I'm using this more for the Legend rule because I like to make multiple Sliver Hive Lords, or I like to make multiple, what is it? What's that one right there? The first Sliver, have multiples of that, well, even though Cascade doesn't really stack. Sliver Legion is another great one to make copies of and to ignore that Legend rule, so yeah. And then our last creature for the deck is going to be the Sliver Hive Lord, Wooborg, 5/5. Sliver creatures you control have indestructible. That is basically your Avacyn that's going to protect your whole entire Sliver Legion. So we're going to get into our artifacts next. We have everyone's favorite artifact most people are hating now, but it's staying in the deck because it's a 5-colored deck. We have a Soul Ring, we have a Lightning Greaves, we have Swiftwood Boots, we have Urza's Incubator, for those who don't know, is 3 colors. As Urza Incubator enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, Slivers. Creature spells of the chosen type cost 2 less to cast. Awesome. Chromatic Lantern, because we need to fix our mana. Maskwood Nexus. 4 colorless mana. Creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. 3 colorless, tap. Create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter creature token with Changeling. Yep, Coat of Arms. We have Coat of Arms for 5 colorless. It is an artifact. Each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature in play that shares a creature type with it. So our Slivers are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Thrumming Hive Pool. I remember when I pulled this card out of the it was Edge of Eternities, and I was just like, wait, there's Slivers in this deck? In this set? I did not know that. Well, lo and behold, there's Slivers. For 6 colors, mana artifact, affinity for Slivers. It's going to cost 1 less for each Sliver that I control. I have gotten this for free more than once. Slivers you control have double strike and haste. Like, what? At the beginning of your upkeep, create 2 1/1 colorless Sliver creature tokens. Dude, that's busted. Alright, and we're going to get into our instants next. We're only running, I believe, 4 instants in this deck. So, usual suspect is going to be Path to Exile. We're going to probably end up exiling one of our Sliver tokens just so we can get the land. Vampiric Tutor, because I've got all 3 of the black tutors in here necessary for finding the combo pieces that I need. Cyclonic Rift, because I'm not really, this is pretty much going to be like my only board wipe spell, so I don't want to go overboard with board wipes. We have a Deflecting Swat, and I always say, I swear by this card, and I do. If I have red in a deck, Deflecting Swat is going in it. Alright, and we'll get into our sorceries. Our sorceries are the Imperial Seal, Demonic Tutor. I love this freaking art on this card, man. It's so good. All is Dust. All is Dust is very important, and it's going to be very important because of our Ghost Flame Sliver. It is 7 mana for a Kindred Sorcery, Eldrazi. Each player sacrifices all permanents they control that are 1 or more colors. Well, my friend here, the Ghost Flame Sliver, says, we're all colorless. So you know what that means? You guys are getting rid of your shit. My shit's staying. Love this card. Love the Ghost Flame Sliver on top, too. Like, you can't go wrong with that. Now, Blasphemous Act. Well, this is the other second board wipe that I have. But it says that it deals 13 damage to each creature. So, just for giggles and shits, we will target our creatures too, of course. But remember what Spiteful Sliver says. Sliver creatures you control have, whenever this creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target player or planeswalker. And we're going to have a lot of Slivers on the deck. I've popped this one off before, and I went kind of kamikaze on it, but it was fun to actually get that ability off where I was just popping my opponents for 26 damage here, and then what was the other one? I did 26 and 39. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Tons of fun. Lots of fun to be had. We're going to get into our enchantments next. We don't have many of those. I think we have like 5 or 6 of them. Alright, we have Cryptolith Rite for a colorless and a green. Creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. So back with the fixing again. Descendant's Path. For 2 colorless and a green, it's at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card that shares a creature type with a creature you control, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Otherwise, put that card on the bottom of your library. This card is totally slept on. Rhythm of the Wild. One of my favorite enchantments is a colorless, a red, and a green. Creature spells you control cannot be countered. Non-token creatures you control have Riot. They can either enter the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it or have haste. Descendant's Fury is 3 colors and a red enchantment. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice one of them. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card that shares a creature type with the sacrificed creature. Put that card under the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in any random order. Reflection of Lityara. For 4 colors and a blue, as Reflections of Lityara enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. My goodness, man. Can you imagine we're casting a free Hive Lord into the battlefield with just based off of our commander, and then we get a free one on top of it, and if we have Grave Mother out, the legend rule doesn't exist. It's absolute chaos. And that does it for our enchantments. And then we'll put those back over there. Okay. Then we'll get into the lands. and then we're going to wrap the video up. Try to make this one quicker than usual. For our land base, we have Mana Confluence, Mutavault. Absolutely love this Mutavault. Sliver Hive. It's add 1 mana to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a Sliver spell. 5 tap. Put a 1/1 colorless. We're not going to spend 5 mana unless we have we have infinite mana. That's just not going to happen. Cavern of Souls. You know what it does. City of Brass. Exotic Orchid. Command Tower. 3-tree city. I absolutely love this card, man. It's fucking bonkers how expensive it is, though. Gaia's Cradle, and then we have Ancient Tomb, and we got Wooded Foothills, Windswept Heath, Misty Rainforest, Verdant Catacombs, Arid Mesa, and then we have our duels. Yeah, we have, I think I took 2 duels out, because I think it was it Tundra? I think it was Tundra. Was it? Yeah, it was Tundra. I needed more green freaking mana in the deck, so I had to make some cuts. Godless Shrine, Overgrown Tomb, Temple Garden, Stomping Grounds. I love that. Breeding Pool. In the Triomes, we have Indatha, we have Ketria. Triomes are basically your tri-lands, obviously. Jetmir's Garden, Spara's Headquarters, Zeotara's Proving Ground, and Zagoth Triume. So, that is our 100 card paper format Sliver Commander deck. Let me know what you guys think of the deck, or what you guys have done with your Sliver decks, who you're running as your commander. I'm very curious to see what you guys are doing with your stuff, because I mean, Slivers are they're very hated, and I can understand why. I've got my ass kicked so many times by Slivers that if somebody says at the table they're playing Slivers, I used to just go, ugh. But now it's like I have a Sliver deck, and I get it. And if somebody brings a Sliver deck to the table, I'm just like, okay, 1 or 2 things are going to happen. I'm going to get curb stomped, or I'm going to do the best that I can to not get curb stomped, but I'll probably end up losing anyway. But I do have a lot of fun with the deck. Sometimes I'll even pump the brakes on going too hard, and I know that kind of like that's cheap or whatever, but sometimes I just want to see how certain things play out and create, situations where, I can wait out a turn or 2 to actually go off, just to challenge myself to see if there's anything else that I can do to evade as much as possible. So I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but I mean it's fun. It's a fun deck. I give this deck to beginners. It's a beginner's deck because it's very hard for them to lose. They don't know that, but when they're in the driver's seat of the deck and they're just like, oh my god, this does this and this does that, and it's like, yeah, oh my god, yeah, you're stomping my ass right now. Like, I want to get people interested in playing the game, and I don't want to do. You're not going to interest somebody in getting in the game by stomping the hell out of them. It's just that person's not going to have a good time, and more than likely not going to come back to Magic. And I am all about getting people to play the game. That's it's called the gathering at the end for a reason. So, let me know what you guys think in the comments of the deck. If you hate it, if you love it, if you're doing something similar, if you're not doing something similar, if something crazy like you're running Eldrazi's and Slivers together or some goofy shit. But, yeah, so with that said, I'm going to wrap this deck up in this video, and then I'm going to get ready to go outside and touch some grass. Y'all have a good one.